Hey, what's up, Grove Church? Charlie, lead pastor here, and I'm joined by the lovely and beautiful, awesome Heidi Lofton. How you doing?
Great.
You nervous?
Yes.
Why are you nervous?
Because this is not my thing. This is your thing.
But you're so smart and so good at everything.
I prefer to be off camera.
Off camera. You're on camera. You're here. We're doing it. So, it's been 2 weeks. It was 2 weeks. 2 weeks ago, last Wednesday night, that they started canceling NBA games, and then it all just started falling apart. And then the U of A was going to cancel, and then the girls' school and Layla's school got canceled, and it's just all just kind of snowballed since then. How would you describe the last 2 weeks?
Surreal, just, I think everybody's just kind of, making it up as we go. I guess is the best way to describe it.
Where would you put your stress anxiety level right now?
Well, I think everybody's stress and anxiety level is a little high. I think different personalities kind of deal with this in different ways, but I think if any of us really stop to think about it and try to process the magnitude of it, we can pretty quickly get overwhelmed, and there's so many question marks and we don't know. So I think there's a lot of potential there for feeling overwhelmed and just letting kind of that tidal wave just kind of overtake you if you let it.
Dustin Pope, doctor at the church and also on our elder team, he described it's like everybody's got a new baseline now. Like, you asking how you're doing, it's like, oh, I'm doing okay. But, now it's like what we used to consider really stress, that's like the new normal. Like, I'm doing okay based on this new baseline. It's just like everything just seems heightened.
Now there's pandemic okay.
Indeed. Pandemic okay. So, we got all these people out there, and I know that you've had quite a few conversations with different ladies and different people from the church, and I've been talking to a lot of different people, and I was thinking about this. We were talking about it, just kind of common themes of stress that maybe people are going through. Maybe specifically, we can just talk first about maybe the things that marriage problems. Like, what are some of the what's the number one common theme that you've heard that you feel like we can address and kind of help with?
Well, I think families are a lot more together and together.
Woo!
Right?
Together!
Together, not completely by choice. And, together can be awesome. Together can also bring stress. Together not by choice can definitely bring stress. Together coupled with homeschooling and possibly job financial strain during this time, fear, all of trying to work with your kids and all your people on top of you, and multiple ones of you trying to work in the same house with multiple kids and people on top of you. It's a lot, and there's a lot that is new and a lot that needs to be navigated, and none of us were planning for this, the holidays come, and that's like a month with your kind of with your people,
right? But
you have anticipation and you have kind of strategies going into that. None of us had a pandemic strategy. We're just here, and so I think, I think just figuring out, okay, we're here, and we're here for we don't know how long, and so. What are we going to do and how are we going to... But I think I've also heard a lot of families really enjoying this time together, and I think that's a great... it's gorgeous outside. We can get out. Going outside and enjoying time outside is one of the few things we can do that feels like freedom,
right?
In what can feel like, this kind of lockdown phase. And so I think a lot of families are enjoying just getting outside and riding bikes and hiking and doing some fun stuff like that together. And I think that's awesome.
Yeah. And so one of the things you and I were talking about, like with marriages specifically, is that, people are going to respond to stress differently. Like, some people are going to get, going to want to be a little more clingy, and other people are going to want to pull away and I need more me time. and there's no place to go for me time. And like if your spouse is, I mean, just even you and I over the last couple of weeks, I feel like I was probably wanting to be more clingy, and your to-do list got really full and overwhelming. And when you do that, you kind of get into just kind of like, I got stuff to do. And so there's just kind of this potential for kind of this just tension that for us. And so how do you deal with that? So if you've got two different people feeling two different things based on stress, how can they bridge the gap and really understand each other and kind of make it a little bit better?
I think it's just important that we all have grace with each other right now, because we all are different, and you're probably married to somebody very different from you. Most of us are, and not just because they're a different gender, but they're also probably wired differently and probably have a different Enneagram number. It's a great time if you've never looked into Enneagram stuff. I mean, you might have some downtime here in the next week or so. Look into that. Look into you and your spouse get online and take an Enneagram test and figure out what your Enneagram numbers are, and look at kind of the way that those numbers deal with stress, because I think that can be very telling. And we can tend to think that the way we deal with things is the right way. And obviously, I mean, if there's a pandemic and you're locked in your house, what you need to be doing is, reorganizing closets and scrubbing the grout and cleaning out the garage and probably power washing things. And, there's probably a list, and what better time to tackle this list than you can't go anywhere. You can't do anything. I mean, this is like a perfect opportunity to knock out the to-do list. Absolutely. Or there might be other ones of you that think, there's a pandemic, this is stressful, I feel emotionally overwhelmed, I kind of go into, I just need to protect myself mode, and I might need extra time by myself, but I can't get away and I can't get time by myself, and so I might just shut down and need to take a nap. Or I might want to play a video game, or just binge watch something on Netflix. I need to just kind of withdraw, self-protect, cocoon a little bit, to kind of protect from all this that's happening.
When you say nap and video game, who are you talking about? Is that just random?
So I'm the napper and the video gamer.
Pick that at random.
Charlie is the one who has the extensive to-do list at all times, and
retiling the kitchen right
just
now.
Can't wait to knock it out.
Yeah, I mean, so like I said, you got to learn to be gracious with each other, and you got to learn to have honest communication. I need more from you than what I'm getting. Can you help me with these tasks, or can you stop with the task and just kind of sit here for me? I need more of this. I need less of this. I think there's always just this kind of underlying assumption that my person will figure it out. If I'm passive aggressive enough, or if I'm just kind of stressed enough, they'll figure out why I'm stressed and what they can specifically do to help it. And you don't verbalize it, and then it makes it even more frustrating. And then for me, like sometimes, like I don't even feel like I'm supposed to verbalize. Like my wife is stressed, and I think I want or need something from her. And so I get stressed and she's stressed, and I can tell she's stressed because she's got too much going on. And then I feel bad about coming to her and it's like, hey, actually, I would love a little bit more of your time and attention. And then that feels inappropriate. And then you're not saying anything, and then your problems just get worse. When really the most healthy thing to do is to just as quickly and as kindly and appropriately as you can express the thing that you wish were different or could be different. We don't know how much longer this is going to last. We have no idea. And so it's better to go ahead and get some of these conversations out right now and just kind of start talking about it. So let's say you got some families that have, and there's 6 people, or some people, it may just be 2 of them, or it may just be somebody by themselves. Like, what are some self-care remedies, no matter how many people there are in your house? Because I'll say it like this. I heard the speaker once was talking about this, and I think I mentioned this in an earlier video, that when they talk about in the airplane and the little oxygen mask comes on, you got to put your oxygen mask on first, and then you can I do that? Can I do this? Then you got to help somebody else. because if you're not okay, you can't help somebody else. And he says that's why it's important to self-care. So if you're in this stressful situation where you're having to serve more or help more, or you're just feeling, you need to make sure that you're taking care of yourself. What are some tips?
I mean, I think self-care looks different for every person. I think there's some universal things. I think we all need to be connecting with the Lord. I think we need to lean into that. I think it can be easy to just sort of, I'm not going into work. I'm not going to church. I'm not going to community group. I'm not going to Bible study. I'm not hanging out with my friends. I'm not doing a lot of the things I'm used to doing. So I'm kind of out of my routines. And so maybe I normally would be trying to read the Bible or trying to pray, but I'm just kind of not doing anything right now. And so I think it can be easy to just kind of disconnect from all things because we feel kind of disconnected right now. And so I think it's important to push through that and to recognize that you need your connection with the Lord right now, whatever that looks like for you. And maybe if it needs to look different, maybe you start a plan that's just for this time. Maybe you really try to invest yourself. I recently heard that if you spent 72 hours, you could read the entire Bible in 72 hours, which you think about 72 hours, that really doesn't seem like that long of a time, especially, in pandemic days. So I mean, what if you made a new big goal for this time? Like, rather than binge watching something, I'm going to see if I can. I've never read the whole Bible before. I mean, I have, but I'm saying, what if you're like, I've never read the whole Bible before, and you think I want to see if I can just knock it out during this time. I love the audio Bible and the way it can read to you while you're doing other things. So as the task person, I like that it can read to me while I'm folding laundry or while I'm on a walk or something. And so I'd say connect with the Lord, connect with your people, whatever that looks like. We've done some Zoom calls and some fun stuff like that. And there's a learning curve to all of it. There's kind of an awkward curve to get over with it. But, ultimately you're talking to your people and you need them. And so we can, just like I said, we can kind of tend to withdraw from our relationship with the Lord. We can tend to withdraw from all of our relationships right now because we just sort of we're like, well, here I am, and I'm just kind of going to go in my shell. But you can't go in your shell right now. You got to keep connecting with your people, whatever that looks like. And I think other self-care things, I mean, like we kind of mentioned before, maybe you want to knock out some to-dos. Maybe that feels therapeutic to you. Maybe you need naps. Maybe you need a bath. Maybe you should, to get out of your pajamas. That's one for me. I was laughing as I actually put on a little mascara for this occasion for you people, and I know, right? Charlie's pretty excited because I think it's been a couple of weeks.
I wasn't going to say anything. I was like, "You look really good today. You look really good today.
Any mascara."
Nice.
But we're all just kind of laxing a little bit on these things, but that can also kind of make you feel sometimes kind of meh about yourself. So exercising, trying to still eat decently, all the things that I think can just help you to feel better.
Yeah. I find like I really value routines, and when routines are broken, it becomes really hard. And so you try to figure out, how can I recreate those routines? We can't have Sunday morning church. Well, what can we do? We can do this broadcast. We can't have small group. What can we do instead of that? We can have a Zoom call. I can't go work by myself in the office. I'm going to go and to try to do it in this bedroom, but I'm going to clean it up and tidy it up where it feels a little different. Or Heidi likes to go outside and do that, and just to try to keep normal routines as much as possible, because it just feels broken. The world just kind of seemed broken in that. And we got a couple of questions. I think we've addressed them for the most part, but I think about one that we got specifically just about when there's just so many of you and things can just be so chaotic. I mean, you just really have to just be a team on this. And some of you, especially, I think Alex is the one that asked the question. I mean, 3 of the 5 members of your team, you can't really recruit to be different. You can't ask them because they don't understand. And so it's just going to require a different level of commitment. Make sure that you and your spouse are on the same page. Again, that you're doing a good job of communicating with the help that you need. And I would also say to give yourself a little bit more grace. Heidi said give grace to each other. Give yourself a little bit more grace. If you have to, with your preschoolers, double the normal amount of screen time that they have, or let them do something more than you normally would. I mean, it's okay. I mean, Layla has been, she's been getting up before us, and we just been kind of letting her just do whatever. And you kind of wake up an hour and a half later after what she does, and then you feel really bad. I feel really bad. She's having a great time because she's doing whatever she wants to do, and I'm not going to wake up and feeling guilty about it. And to just give yourself a break. I think that is the biggest piece of advice I would give to the people who are just feeling just completely and totally overwhelmed right now. And so if you can give yourself grace, if you can give your partner grace, the other people in your family grace, if you can make sure that you're prioritizing self-care, that you're giving honest communication with each other, I think that you'll find in the new baseline that maybe you even drag it down. Like, I'm doing pretty well for pandemic stress. We did get a few other questions, but they are very apologetic in nature. Things like, where did Cain find his new wife, and contradictions in the Bible, apparent contradictions in the Bible about census counts and why God got so mad and it seemed like he asked him to. Those are great questions, and I was talking to our social media team. If we keep these things going over the next few weeks, we'll have one that's really more kind of an apologetics, ask me anything kind of deal. This is probably not the best time for that, unless you would like to kind of give us 30 good minutes on where Cain got his wife, anything like that.
Right. No, I think I'm good.
You good? Okay. Well, we love you guys a lot, and we miss you. And I think a lot of people have felt this, is you don't realize the degree that much you rely on people and love people and need them until it's just gone. And it's been great figuring out ways to connect with you guys. And so please let us know in comments, other things, other questions and topics that we could address. I mean, even the apologetics Ask Me Anything is an idea that came out of questions and comments that people had. So we would love to hear from you, anything that you would love for us to talk about. We want to continue to be doing the thing that God has called us to do for the last 10 years, which is to love and invest in you guys well. So if there's some specific things that we can do, we would love to hear it. So we love you guys, and I know for sure that we'll see you again on Sunday. There's also a Zoom call in the morning for our Grove kids. So if you got a kid, 10 a.m. tomorrow, I encourage you to be a part of that. And just keep connected with our YouTube page, our Facebook page, our Facebook community group if you're not a part of that. The best way to kind of figure out what's going on and find great ways to kind of socially and spiritually connect with each other during this time. You guys have a great rest of the evening, and we'll see you soon.